these idiots on cable news, these idiots on Sunday shows going, well, president, he was talking only about the auto industry, and this is one more. It's just bullshit. Let me say that at 6:15 a.m. It's just bullshit.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about the mainstream media melting down after Trump used the word bloodbath during a recent rally in Dayton, Ohio. Now, obviously, if you heard the full clip, which we'll get to in a minute, he was not talking about violence. He was not talking about hurting anyone. He was not issuing a threat. He was talking about economic downturn, financial losses as a result of some maneuvering in the auto industry. That is a context. That is what he was talking about. And as a matter of fact, before we go any further, let's check out the actual definition. Shout out to Lou Valentino for this. I saw your video on Instagram about this particular thing. Let's look at what words mean, because in 2024, we seem to have forgotten that a thing like a dictionary actually exists. And sometimes words have meanings, and you can't just assign a meaning to a thing while ignoring what the context and the actual meaning of the word is. Now, here are some definitions. First, we have a great slaughter. Then we have a notably fierce, violent, or destructive contest or struggle. You see a little bit of bias. The campaign has become a bloodbath. I wonder if that's a recent addition. But anyway, I digress. The last one says a major economic disaster. If you hear the clip, we're going to get to that in a moment. That is what he was referring to. But according to the media, people like Joe Scarborough and the rest of them, he was talking about political violence, January 6th, all this, that, and the third. You see why we don't like the mainstream media anymore? Because it just twists things to fit their narrative. Now, let's check out the actual clip. If you want to see the clip in full without my commentary, link, as always, will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit the link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Mexico has taken, over a period of 30 years, 34% of the automobile manufacturing business in our country. Think of it. Went to Mexico. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. Now, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine.
So you see, we're talking about, it's like, look, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath because of all of these cheap cars or whatnot flooding into the country that Americans are not able to produce. We're not able to get the revenue from actually manufacturing the vehicles. We're talking about economic, we're talking about money. We're not talking about any kind of political violence. But the media will just use that word and make it mean something that it could mean, although it does not mean that, because it has multiple meanings and the context is important to understand what the word actually means. All right, let's keep on. Now, we got a lot more. We have several instances of people using this term in the mainstream media. And ironically, look at this. It says, Trump says there will be a bloodbath if he loses the election. This is on NBC News, right? This was published a couple of days ago. And the headline, the subhead says, Trump made the comments at a rally in Ohio where he spoke about the auto manufacturing. The Biden campaign responded by criticizing the former president's threats of political violence. So they're trying to give some context, but at the same time, they're not, because number one, there's no political violence being threatened. And then number two, the headline is what will be read by the majority of people. When you're sharing it on Google, social media, etc., they're going to see that and they're not going to see anything else. Then they're going to say, oh, that's what Trump does. He always threatens violence. This is J6 all over again. Now, here's something pretty interesting right here. Now, I showed you at the very beginning of this video, Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski on MS-13 DNC on their morning show, right? And he's talking about, oh, well, we knew what you meant when you said bloodbath. And here he is backing up that statement with a tweet. It says, Donald Trump's America, and he's proud of it, promised another quote unquote bloodbath if he loses again. And this is obviously a picture of January 6th, a screenshot of J6 video. So he's trying to liken his bloodbath comments to what happened on January 6th. Now, miraculously, magically, that tweet was deleted after Elon Musk responded. And Elon says J6 was not a quote unquote bloodbath by any definition, and Trump was referring to job losses in the auto industry when he used that word. Your post is extremely misleading. So if you really meant what you said, Joe Scarborough, and you really said what you said, and you think that Trump was issuing threats of political violence, why would you delete your tweet after Elon Musk responded to you? To me, that doesn't make any sense. It's pretty confusing, but I digress. Now, here's more examples of the word bloodbath being used by the left. This says Joe Biden threatened Bernie Sanders with a bloodbath in the 2020 primary. This is disqualifying and terrifying. So here we are. The Guardian, back 2020. Biden warns against primary bloodbath as Sanders sharpens attacks ahead of key contest. So you can use it and it's fine. So when Joe Biden uses it, it's totally fine. But when Trump uses it, it's not fine. And Joe Biden will attack him for it. Okay, that makes sense. Let's keep on going. And then this is NBC continuing to repost it. They posted it just, like 7 hours apart, the same exact story. So now we're just trying to do some astroturfing, trying to put it out there constantly with no changes in the actual caption. You should change the caption or delete the article and issue a retraction because it's obviously fake, but let's keep on going. Now, Politico back in 2014, they have this headline: Democrats got pummeled last week at the ballot box. Next up, their bloodbath in the Capitol. So, I mean, what are we saying? This is not a reference to J6. This is a long time ago, 10 years ago. They use the term bloodbath and it's fine. But when Trump uses it, it's not fine. And here we have a compilation of the mainstream media using the term bloodbath to let you know that they're not really offended at the term. It's only offensive when Trump uses it and they're able to gain some kind of leverage from covering it. Let's keep on rocking and rolling. Check this out.
But as Politico.com reports tonight on the, quote, bloodbath at the RNC.
Headlines calling it a, quote, bloodbath. Yeah, blood.
Now, let's talk about this. This is a recent story. This is from just a few days ago when there's been a Trump takeover at the RNC, and there's been a lot of job cuts and just, slimming down unnecessary fat within the RNC. And this is being described as a bloodbath by the media, and there's headlines everywhere saying the same thing. Politico, you get MSNBC talking about it, and you're going to see a few more articles throughout the video. Keep going.
Bloodbath at the RNC.
Headlines calling it a, quote, bloodbath.
Be a bloodbath. Not only is it going to be a bloodbath, but after they leave New Hampshire, it's a bloodbath on her home turf. That's really tough. Trump has left a lot of corpses in his wake. I mean, we can count the bodies as part.
Bloodbath, corpses, we could count the bodies. What are we talking about? This is before the controversy behind what Trump said at the rally in Dayton. Now, all of a sudden, they don't like the term bloodbath. But before he said what he said, if they didn't like that term, then I can't tell.
Part of the, quote, MAGA drive to take over Maricopa County. And the headline refers to it as an impending bloodbath.
Columnist Charles Blow has a new piece for the New York Times entitled A Biden Bloodbath.
2018 midterms, you can bet that they 100% are fearing a slaughter. In fact, the word bloodbath and massacre come up frequently.
The Republican Party will be destroyed. It's going to be a bloodbath.
Now we're kind of going back in time. We're going 2018, 2020, etc. But the video, this particular clip right here, started with 2024.
Going to be a bloodbath one way or the other.
Bloodbath for Bernie Sanders.
It's been a bloodbath there, shaping up to be a bloodbath.
Head off a bloodbath in next year's crucial midterm.
Off year.
Not Don Lemon, not him. Say it ain't so.
Elections are often a bloodbath.
This week's bloodbath for Democrats.
A bloodbath at the ballot box.
There could be a Republican bloodbath.
They'll talk about a bloodbath.
It's a bloodbath. I have to talk about you. And
It's going to be a bloodbath all day long.
Is in for a bloodbath.
Hasn't been a bloodbath on the way down.
Now, do you guys get to the general idea, the general gist of it? Nobody has a problem on mainstream leftist media using that term. But now all of a sudden they want to do pearl clutching because Trump used it in the exact same way that they've been using it for years and years and years and years. This is a completely bogus and ridiculous story. Okay. And there's one more thing here. They were also talking about, aside from the bloodbath comment, his use of the term animals to describe certain people. And they want to say that he's calling Hispanics and Latinos or whatever, or Latinx, whatever they want to say. He's trying to say that he's referring to them as animals, but in reality, that's not the case. Let's check this out.
Unbelievable when I see it going. But I got to know all these people. They're very smart, very streetwise. And I would do the same thing. If I had prisons that were teeming with MS-13 and all sorts of people that they've got to take care of for the next 50 years, right? Young people, they're in jail for years, and if you call them people, I don't know if you call them people. In some cases, they're not people, in my opinion, but I'm not allowed to say that because the radical left says that's a terrible thing to say. They say you have to vote against him because did you hear what he said about humanity? I've seen the humanity, and these are bad, these are animals, okay? And we have to stop it. We can't have another Lakin. We have so many people.
Now, obviously, he's talking about the criminal migrants coming across, your MS-13 gang members, the guys that engage in child trafficking, weapons trafficking, gun. They engage in a bunch of violent, dangerous crime that negatively impacts the entire country, from man, woman, child, everybody. So since he used the term animals, they want to call Trump a racist for that. So you can't use the term bloodbath, although the entire mainstream media always does it in the exact same context in which he used it. And then we're talking about violent, dangerous criminals that traffic children. Using the term animal is somehow racist. Got it. Now, there's a lot I want to say, but I'll wrap it on up, put the bow clean on top. As I close, I want to say this. Shout out to Trump for using the very same language that the mainstream media uses with no problem, but now all of a sudden it is a problem because he used it. This is just so dumb, so bogus. The media, they're done. They're toast. This is why. And you know what? Really, I'm not complaining too much about the media because the more they keep doing things like this, dishonest coverage, outright lying in their coverage, it helps guys like me and many others on the alternative media. Keep on doing what you're doing. Guys that got post-grad degrees in journalism or whatever, keep doing what you're doing. Keep flushing your money down the toilet. Meanwhile, it'd be a guy like me with no bachelor's degree, no master's degree, no nothing, coming on here and stomping y'all into wine. In a proverbial sense, I'm not trying to threaten violence, mainstream media, but I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on Trump's use of the term bloodbath? Are you offended? Was he threatening violence, or was he speaking about the auto industry and job loss and financial losses? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This is yet another example of why the mainstream media sucks. We all know it sucks. And the more they keep up with this, the quicker they'll go out of existence. And again, for guys like me and many of you as well, that's not even the bad thing. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.